At 8 o'clock in the morning we departed Alcudia. We were motor sailing once again, as the light winds would mean it would be dark before we could drop anchor in Palma. We had left our anchorage there that we had loved so much, but the time had come to move on. As we rounded the most eastern cape, Cape Mesquita, the wind picked up into a nice breeze, but we decided to keep the motor running at a low speed to maintain a minimum of 5 knots, as we still had a fair distance to cover before nightfall. Although the sky was bright and sunny, the breeze made it cool enough to feel the progressing autumn.
An hour and 3/4 to go, or just under.
Where are we going?
Yeah, some port.
Both Kathy and I were now wearing warmer tops and jeans. As we travelled down the coast, I used the binoculars to get a closer view of the small towns that were built at regular intervals. Time was getting on, and we both thought maybe it was time to look for a place to anchor for the night. I steered Orca a little closer to the shore, manoeuvring in and out when the depth became too shallow. Then we both, almost at the same time, saw a small bay that looked deep enough, judging by the colour of the water. Checking the simrad and depth reading, we decided to take a closer look. We dropped the mainsail and hauled in the genoa and slowly entered into what was a perfect anchorage for the night. The rocky bluffs that surrounded the inlet were almost as tall as Orca's mast. They would shelter us from any winds that might spring up in the night, I thought.
And lo and behold, we're parked next to a Kiwi boat. What are the chances of that? Well, it's happened so often it's not funny. We see so many Kiwi boats here in Europe. Now, we came in here last night from Alcudia and stopped at this little bay, and beautiful it is. We spent one night here and we're leaving later on. But this is just a small bay, and just beautiful.
The next morning we awoke to find that Simon's boat had gone. I had recalled waking momentarily in the early morning while it was still dark and hearing an anchor winch, but I had drifted back to sleep. We left the inlet at 10:30 that morning and headed down the coast towards the city of Palma. As we rounded the most southern point, the wind freshened, and we did not need the motor. Once again we followed the bays, enjoying the scenery. As the day wore on, we realised that it would be near dark before we could reach Palma. The wind had backed a little and was now perfect for a reach. With genoa and main, we raced towards the city, crossed the Great Bay in an effort to beat the sunset. Orca was doing 8.5 knots and heeling over at a steady angle. We raced on, reaching the spot that I had picked out on the simrad to stay the night. The sun had slipped below the horizon 5 minutes before we edged into the small inlet and dropped the anchor for the night.